The past decade has brought us some truly incredible games, masterpieces that pushed boundaries, redefined genres, and captured our imaginations. But not everything was a win. For every standout hit, there were titles that completely missed the mark. Games that were broken, uninspired, tone-deaf, or just plain baffling. Whether they were hyped into oblivion, only to crash and burn, or quietly released and instantly forgotten for good reason, these are the games that left players scratching their heads and asking, how did this even get made? This is our countdown of the top 10 worst games of the last 10 years. Buckle up, it's going to be a bumpy ride. So, the 10th worst game of the last 10 years on our list is Mighty No. 9. After a wave of key developers departed from Capcom, one of its most recognizable figures, Keiji Inafune, set out to deliver a spiritual successor to Mega Man, something longtime fans had been craving. Early glimpses of Mighty No. 9, especially its sleek 2D concept art, sparked hope that this could be the revival fans dreamed of. But the moment the project shifted to clunky 3D visuals, things started unraveling fast. The promotional missteps only made matters worse. A tone-deaf anime fan on prom night comment, a livestream boldly claiming the game was better than nothing, and ultimately, a release that showcased just how bland and underwhelming the final product really was. Inafune's credibility took a major hit, and both he and his studio, Concept, have struggled to recover ever since. And the 9th worst game of the last 10 years on our list is Watch Dogs Legion. At their core, video games often rely on repetition, but great ones disguise it with engaging gameplay loops that build on each other. Watch Dogs Legion had a unique concept with its play-as-anyone mechanic, which initially feels fresh and full of potential. Unfortunately, that creativity fades fast. After the tutorial, the game falls into a predictable cycle. Infiltrate an area, perform a stealth takedown, grab the objective, and repeat. The few narrative threads that hint at something deeper are abruptly dropped, and mission difficulty swings wildly with no clear pattern. In the end, you're likely to quit, not because you've finished, but because the experience becomes either too tedious or too frustrating to continue. And the 8th worst game of the last 10 years is Super Seducer: How to Talk to Girls. It's always wise to be wary of people who will say or do anything just to cash in with minimal effort. Enter Super Seducer: How to Talk to Girls, where self-proclaimed pickup artist Richard La Ruina takes a shot at teaching players how to approach women, land dates, and eventually sleep with them. The game's scenarios are not only cringeworthy and unrealistic, but they also reduce women to simplistic, one-dimensional props in a shallow quest for self-gratification. Naturally, criticism followed, but instead of fading into obscurity, backlash fueled curiosity. Enough people bought the game out of spite to fund not one, but 2 sequels. Real classy move. And on number 7, we have Greyhill Incident. In the realm of video games, we've encountered countless imaginative depictions of aliens across various genres. However, it's rare to see a truly terrifying take on the classic Grey Moon men, like Greyhill Incident attempted. Unfortunately, what could have been an intriguing concept faltered in terms of execution. The game relied on stealth mechanics, but buggy AI ruined any chance of meaningful sneaking. Even worse, getting caught by the aliens could send you back an unpredictable distance thanks to poorly placed checkpoints. The result is a frustrating experience that only adds to the list of disappointments. And the 6th worst game is Balan Wonderworld. Yuji Naka and Naoto Oshima are legendary names in Sega's history, but Balan Wonderworld was far from the return fans hoped for. Teaming up with Square Enix for a 3D platformer sounded promising, and the game's musical theatre theme had potential. Unfortunately, that's about where the praise ends. From baffling design choices, like every button doing the same thing, to bizarre technical issues like objects disappearing up close, the game constantly works against itself. limited costume options, and confusing mechanics only add to the mess. In the end, Balan Wonderworld is a puzzle of bad decisions we may never fully understand. And the fifth worst game of the last 10 years on our list is Ghostbusters. 2016 was already a tough year for the Ghostbusters franchise, and a decent video game could have been gone a long way in easing the blow from the movie's backlash. Unfortunately, the game that followed made things even worse. With dull, repetitive gameplay that had players trudging from room to room, busting ghosts, and technical issues like frequent stuttering and severe frame rate drops, it was a mess on nearly every front. The game flopped so hard that Reforged Games, the studio behind it, shut down shortly after release. By January 2019, the game was completely delisted from digital stores, vanishing almost as quickly as it came. And on number 4, we have Warcraft III, Reforged. Blizzard had stumbled before, like the notorious Diablo III Era 37 fiasco, but Warcraft III Reforged felt like the moment the studio truly started torching its goodwill. The game was misleading from the start, showcasing cutscenes and features at preview events that never made it into the final release. On top of that, Blizzard enforced a controversial EULA claiming ownership of all user-made mods. The backlash was immediate and fierce, with Reforged becoming the lowest user-rated game on Metacritic at the time, until Diablo Immortal came along in 2022 and somehow sank even lower. And the third worst game of the last 10 years is Generation Zero. Take any claims about Generation Zero's post-launch improvements with a hefty grain of salt. When it first released, the game was a disaster, riddled with crashes, buggy AI, broken stealth systems, and repetitive assets awkwardly slapped across the map. To make things worse, resource management was so poorly balanced that players, like the writer of this video, could easily get stuck in unwinnable situations. While a few technical issues have been patched over time, no update can fix the game's soulless world, dull presentation, or generic character design. At the end of the day, Generation Zero still lives up to its name, for all the wrong reasons. And the second worst game is Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Suicide Squad isn't terrible when it comes to gameplay. Moving around and blasting enemies feels powerful and fun. But the game falls apart due to a series of baffling decisions. Why are there 7 different currencies? Why can't you fully upgrade weapons, only get a few stat boosts? Why are main missions burdened with frustrating rules like enemies only take damage from damage boosters? And the end game? It's just the same repetitive missions with no real substance. These confusing choices make it clear that Suicide Squad feels rushed. And it's no surprise that Warner Bros. Lost $200 million in revenue because of it. And the last worst game of the last 10 years on our list is Contra Rogue Core. Konami has proven it can deliver great games, but by the late 2000s and 10s, the company was clearly struggling, and Contra Rogue Core was one of its most cringe-worthy missteps. Sure, the weapon upgrades and customization had some merit, but the rest felt like a clumsy attempt to pander to meme culture. A cyborg panda with a gun? Visuals that look straight out of a cancelled piss filter era title? This wasn't Contra, not even close. Longtime fans saw through the mess immediately and rightfully rejected it. So, which game from this list do you think is the absolute worst? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.